Here's my 3 takes on the NAR settlement. Might be a little bit different than other people have talked about. So number 1, I actually think that the lawsuit is a good thing with respect to the buyer's agent. Here's why. Hear me out. Buyer's agents would meet a client at a property, whether you called in from Zillow, they would take time away from their family, they'd take time away from whatever they were doing to go meet someone to show them property. With drive time, this could be 1 to 3 hours. I get it, it's a part of their job, but imagine doing this over and over and over and not having a contract between you and the other party. So now, and it's like a willy-nilly way to do business, and you really can't forecast doing business this way for a lot of buyer's agents. So in terms of really defining the roles and setting expectations, it's awesome now that the NAR settlement took place, now that there is a contract in between the buyer's agent and the client. I think that as a buyer, you'll get a whole different type of professional experience. And I think as an agent, you could properly forecast your business. So that's a win-win there. Now, here's some cons. Like the number 2 take I have on the NAR settlement is this. It's going to hurt first-time homebuyers if sellers do not offer to pay buyer's commission. So let me just do rough math. A $600,000 house, you're putting 5% down. That's $30,000. So already $30,000 out of your pocket. You have to pay closing costs. You have to prepay your first mortgage. You have to prepay some taxes, insurance. All in all, let's say $20,000. So 30 plus 20, we're at $50,000. On top of that, if you have to pay the buyer's agent's commission, let's say it's 2%, that's an additional $12,000. So now we're at 62. Let's just round up to 65,000. From all of the families, and I look about 100 to 150 families' finances a month, there's not many first-time home buyers that just have 65,000 chilling in an account. They're traditionally saying, hey, we've got the 30,000 and we got room for some closing costs, but we're going to need a little help from the seller. That help doesn't even talk about having to pay the buyer's commission. So in the event that I'm selling a $700,000 house, $600,000 house, again in Southern California, as a seller, I would be paying the buyer's commission because it's more marketable to the demographic where they're starting out, they haven't saved that much money, they're not buying $1 million homes where they should potentially have a lot of money in the bank. So that's one thing as a seller, that's one thing as a first-time home buyer. I would just be cognizant of that we definitely have to make sure those costs, the buyer's agent's commission is covered for you. Now, what are we doing on my side? Well, on my side, when I pre-approve you and let's say you start submitting offers, we don't know. We don't know if that commission is covered or not. But when I do pick up the call, when that offer is sent and I do pick up the call of the listing agent, I'm very upfront of your seller will have to pay commission because that is how the pre-approval is structured. Now, the third take I have on this actually has to do with appraisers, and no one's talked about this. In my opinion, appraisers have the biggest legwork. Here's why. When I'm going to, it's called stacking. When I say I need a $10,000 credit, let's say a home is listed for $400,000. I need a $10,000 credit. So as long as the comparables in the area support it, we're going to put the purchase price at $410,000 with that $10,000 credit. So it's the same net to the seller. So now appraisers have to be really careful with concessions because now we will potentially ask for closing costs, plus potentially ask for buyer's commission to be stacked in, and there's only so much room for the comparables for values to go up. So the appraisers are going to have to really do their due diligence. I know they're going to get a lot of pushback in terms of, no, we have to have a $20,000 credit because they have to pay the buyer's commission. Those types of things that I anticipate seeing. So those are my 3 takes on it. I think it's great that we're going to have a contract between the buyer and the agent. I think that we have to be very cognizant of what that pre-approval looks like, and I think appraisers are going to have maybe a little bit more work on their plate. Let me know what you think in the comments.